You can have video on or off, whatever you prefer. That's totally fine. Some of you maybe still be in your pajamas, so perhaps you want to keep the video. That's fine. And we're going to start in a minute or so. Hi, Louise, or this might be Kaisa coming in. I'm not sure. I think one of you two are joining this morning. Welcome. So what I would like us all to have is, it's both of you. Hi Louise, hi Kaisa. I don't know which one of you are joining this morning. So if everyone's got either, you might not have a yoga blanket, but if you've got one, have one. But if not, a towel is good. Hi Catherine. Nice to see you. Hey, nice to see you. Oh, it's great that we can practice together. Catherine's in Vienna, so this is nice. We're dialing in from afar. Yeah. So, yeah, a bath towel is good because they can be folded up and used to sit on as well, or used as a blanket. So have a bath towel, or a yoga blanket if you have one. That will probably do us. If you've got a block or something that can be used as a brick block, you know, I've been saying to people using like a tissue box is quite good. Have that, but we'll minimize the equipment use just because I don't know what you guys have all got, so we'll just pretty much use our yoga mat. So if you've got me up, you can have me on your screen. Hi Andy, I can see you now. If you've got me up, you can, there's various, if you haven't used Zoom before, normally up in the right corner, you can just click on speaker view. So you've just got a big view of me. I've got you guys on gallery view, those of you who wanted to dial in and be on screen, you can be on screen, but if not, you can take yourself off screen as well. So that's it. I think everyone is muted, so that's good. I'll just make sure. Yep, everyone's muted, so that's all good. So we'll start the class then. So welcome everyone. So it's lovely to have you all here. Thanks for dialing in this interesting time. But what I'm actually enjoying about it is, you know, I've got a mixture of people here in this class who wouldn't normally practice together. Some of you from London, we've got Catherine from Vienna here as well, so, and some of you from Brighton, so it's really nice. And those of you from Brighton come to different classes as well, so it's really nice to sort of bring people together. So I'm really enjoying that connection with people that we're managing to have at the moment that we wouldn't normally have in this way. So we're going to start now. Those of you I can see, you know, I can watch you as much, you know, I can observe you as much as I possibly can. Some of you I can't see anyway. So, you know, as always in all of my classes, you know, your responsibility is to, you know, really attune to your own body. You know, you are listening to your body. So if anything doesn't feel quite right, then, you know, just take a pause, take a breath, stand in Tadasana, rest in child pose, whatever you need to do. You know, you're welcome to stop, to take a break whenever you need to. And, you know, you're welcome to move whenever you need to. So this is, it's all the same, you know, the same approach that we take to live classes. So we'll start by coming into Vajrasana. And I know all of you, because you're all regular students, that you're familiar with what to do for support. So, you know, take support if you need it between buttocks and heels or beneath the ankles. You may bring your hands into your lap, one hand on top of the other. And you can close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you're going to come into your breath. And as you come into your breath, I'm going to read you a little verse from an Upanishad. Just a snippet, because it's actually quite a long Upanishad that I'm reading from. But I had a little flick this morning and I thought this was very relevant. us. So you just focus on feeling your breath, being with your breath. Breath is greater than hope. Just as spokes are held together in a wheel hub, everything is held together in the breath. Breath moves by breath. Breath gives it to breath. Breath is father, breath is mother, breath is brother, breath is sister. Breath is teacher, breath is Brahmana. So what we have there in the breath is everything. So Brahmana is a reference to the underlying sort of field or nature of everything together. So although this time we found ourselves in, maybe at times taking our breath, I've noticed myself there's been times when I felt tight around the breath. If we can orientate ourselves back to our breath, with no expectation, no particular method employed, just to immerse ourselves in the breath is enough. So enjoy the breath. Maybe you're in a location where you can hear birds outside. We have awareness, perhaps you know that at least one of you is outside. You can enjoy that sunshine, we can enjoy the light. And we can enjoy settling into being here. So bring your hands to your heart, into Anjali Mudra, into a prayer position. We're going to just chant one Om together. So let's take a deep inhalation to prepare. And then allow your breath to find itself. Breath is greater than a hope. Breath is everything. Okay, you may slowly release your hands down now. Take another breath here. And then we're going to bring ourselves up to standing. So when you're ready, coming up. Come to stand in the centre of your mat. Oh, I'm really enjoying seeing you all. So far I've been streaming without having a view of people on the screen. So it's really, really lovely. So let's bring ourselves into Tadasana with the feet in close towards each other. Unless you need to take the feet wider, you can go up to hip width apart. But bring your feet in close and move around a little on your feet. So you might be spreading your toes, you might be rocking back and forth, maybe moving from side to side to find your feet. So we can find our feet in the same way that we find our breath. So to do that, we have to drop in, we have to give our attention here and now. So to give your attention to your feet, to give your attention to the contact that you feel between your feet and the earth beneath your feet. So we're not just tuning into the direct contact with the surface of the mat or the floor. we are plugging in here. And what is wonderful about this sort of distance yoga that we're practicing with each other here is, you know, we are plugging in and practicing together, and it's not dependent on us being in the same room. You know, obviously we have this technology helping us, but you know, beyond the technology, we're all here feeling the same thing. We're all feeling that deep plugging in to the earth. And as we plug into the earth, we can feel that that provides us with a continuous connection to each other. There is essentially no space between us, or no separation between us. We are contacting each other. Okay, so again, this returning to the breath to drop into that which is everything. It's here, it's now. Okay. And we're going to take our feet into a wide stride here. And we're going to take our feet into a generous stride. You can see how wide my stride is. And you know the distance. You're all used to practicing with me, so we know how wide to go. We don't want to go so wide that we feel unstable, and we don't want to be too narrow that it sort of feels a bit half-hearted. So it's a good generous stride in our posture. And we're going to bring our arms up above our head. So first of all, just check your feet. You can have your feet in line with each other, the midline of each foot in line with the opposite foot. And then we're going to bring our arms up above our head. Now you can be really loose here, so let's deliberately loosen up the shoulders. So if you bend your elbows a little and let the shoulders drop and have a little sort of wiggle, a little sort of shake. I'm going to come in a little closer for you to see this, so a little sort of wiggle and shake. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to reach out our arms to the sides. So it's going to be a little movement from side to side. You can let your leg bend into it, your knee bend into it. So you are just drifting your arms out. We're not looking for a big, great stretch. We're just moving the arms in space. Okay, and we're finding the breath with this movement. Now, we're going to slowly start to take this movement lower down. So what we're going to do is, with the movement of the arms, that is, we're going to start to bring the arms back in to the back of the head. So you can return each hand to the back of the head as you move the other hand out. Okay? That's it, breathe. So let the breath flow with this. Then you're going to return the hands to the shoulders as you move out. And take deep breaths when you need to take them. So the breath, most of the time we don't need to give ourselves full instruction with the breath. We just need to be connected to the breath and it will find itself. Bring the hands down onto the hips now. So we may be starting to feel perhaps a little bit of fatigue coming into the shoulders. So just keep the flow, stay soft, feel free to move into it. You can be fairly creative in your movements. So you can sway, if that helps you. We can bring the hands down towards the knees now. Keep flowing. Now you might find as you come down, if there's any pressure on the outer ankles, it might feel better to slightly turn the toes out. So feel free to adjust your feet if you need to. And then from the knees, we're going to come and take it down low. Coming into the center. Breathing. So this is where you might find it better to take your toes out. That's it, breathe. Let the body turn into it. Let's see if we can pick up a little wave of flow now. And then with that wave of flow, we're going to start to bring it up just in a wave, both arms together. That's it, perfect. Okay, and then just slow it down, and bring it back into the center. Bring your arms down in a wide circle. We'll step our feet in towards each other, hip width, and take some deep breaths. And feel the body settling from that. So, perhaps you're starting to feel the tingling of aliveness through the body now, hopefully. So yeah, feel free to move, shake it out a little, wiggle it out a little. I can see Andy having a good shake of his hands there. So, feel free to, respond to, what you feel in your body now. This is really important in yoga, that we are having this relationship, it's deep within our ethos of Vajrasati yoga, is this listening and responding. So it's always based on the current present experience, what we do and how we respond in the body to that. Okay, breath settling. Forehead soft, jaw released. Another little Vajrasati mantra that we have there. Just give yourself here in this moment. There is just the breath. It's everything. It's everything. Okay, you may place your hands on your hips and we're going wide again with your feet. But this time we are going to be turning the body to the side. So you're going to be turning towards your right side. So turn your left toes in. Pretty steeply, turn your right foot and leg out, and then when you've turned around towards the right side, we want to encourage this left hip forward. So we can lift up the back heel, we can extend back through the heel, so that creates an internal rotation on the back leg, and we reach back. The front foot walks across your yoga mat towards the right side of your mat, so you've got space. And you feel that space across the pubic bone, so there's no sense of the legs crossing in front of each other. Okay, and then again, we're going to play into a little bit of movement here. So we're going to raise our arms up above our head. Now, perhaps you're starting to feel, it's Monday morning, maybe you haven't done any yoga practice yet, you haven't moved yet, we're sort of going out into the world less, so you haven't even had to walk to your yoga class, so perhaps the body needs a little bit more warming up. So if it feels tight in the back calf, then lift the heel, reach back through the heel and descend it to the floor. And you might do this a couple of times, so we're lifting up and descending, lifting up and descending. So just enjoying that lift up into space and that pull back down towards the earth. Lift up into space and pull back down. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to bend our front knee. So if you lift up onto the heel, I often find this a useful action because then when I bend my knee, I feel like I'm really extending through the length of the thigh bone rather than just a straightforward dropping of the knee. And then as my foot descends towards the floor, I feel a rise up from this front groin area of the front leg. Perfect. Little light tone in the belly, lifting the chest. Breathe. Now we're going to fold ourselves forwards. So we bring our body towards being in line with the back leg. We make this straightish line here. That's it, breathe. Now, of course, you can move into this as you need to move into it. You know, move your arms, move your body, play with the posture. If you find yourself in a static posture where you feel stuck, then that's a little indicator to perhaps bring a little bit of movement into it to find a place where you can come to rest in the pose. So resting in the pose doesn't necessarily mean there's no energy, but it means that we are happy to give ourselves to the pose. Okay, now let's bring the body up, bring the arms down to the side. So we're in this kind of, what people often refer to as these cactus arms here. Or maybe don't shoot me, arms. Okay, so we're here and we're going to lift up the back heel now. So lift up your heel so you can bring a little bit more of an internal rotation to the back leg. Now, we're going to move ourselves down. So we're going to slowly descend that back knee. So we start to feel that reach through the back groin area, or the groin of the back leg area. That's it, perfect. Now, we're going to move between a couple of actions here. So this is the lift action here. We find that lift up from the back leg. We lift up through the body. We breathe. We open ourselves up towards the sky. And then we're going to fold it down, bringing the hands to the floor, sitting back towards the back heel. So the front leg extends. We take a breath, we gather in that expansion from the first position and we breathe. And then we're going to fold forward. So do take padding under your knee if you need it under your back knee. Pop your towel there or blankets. And then we're going to come back, bringing the arms around, leaning into the front groin, lifting up a little awareness within the pelvic floor for support. Open yourself up, whether or not you're looking out towards a window. I'm lucky that I'm in a position where I can see the sky. You know the sky is there behind the wall. As it breathe. Okay, and again, let's slowly, slowly, slowly pull it back, extending the front leg, bringing the hands, the fingertips to the floor. Taking a breath, enjoying the assimilation of the previous movement into the body. And then one more time, arms out wide, bending the front knee, leaning up into it, finding that lift, that extension up through, light tone in the belly, lifting the chest, head and neck are free. You are free. And then our last descent back towards the back heel, the arms come down, the leg extends, we breathe. And then you can walk your hands forward so you can lift, and we're going to turn. We're going to turn ourselves towards the wide end of the mat and just bring the feet in together. I'm going to pause here. And take a breath. Now you can bring your hands to the floor. So you're just on your hands and knees. You're taking padding under your knees if you need to. And you're breathing, and we're just going to perhaps bring a little sway into the body, maybe a sway into the hips. And using that movement to find stillness. moving into the space around you to find the space in you. You know, it's no different. Okay, now we're going to walk ourselves around towards the other side of our mat. We're going to come through a downward facing dog before we do the other side of that little sequence we just did. So place your hands so they're shoulder width apart and spread your fingers. You know, look at your hands, make sure you're not overly stretching the fingers. So you want to feel spaciousness between the fingers, but without tension. Okay, and then again we'll move a little perhaps before we come up into our downward facing dog, perhaps a little forwards and backwards movement, teasing out the weekend, teasing out the week, teasing out, you know, every little news article we may have read over the last week. Just move it through the body, let it pass through. And then in your own time, when you feel ready, pick yourselves up into downward facing dog. So we are lifting up. Our feet are, you know, around about hip width apart. We can vary the distance that we take with our feet, so we don't have to overly think it, but just make sure that you are aligned equally between your hands and feet. You're not slightly leaning over to one side or the other. Now you can stretch out the body by feeling the extension coming from your contact with the floor. So as the hands deepen, you rise up through the arms, rise up through the body, sway through the hips, breathe. You can tease out that stretch into the waist, into the lower back. Okay, now you're going to look forwards. You're going to step your foot that is furthest away from me towards your hands. We're going to press into the floor and bring ourselves all the way up. So we find ourselves in this same position, and we're going to allow that back heel to come down to start with. So it might need to turn in a little to come down. And we're going to play with that movement again, that lift and that lengthening. So bringing your arms up. And we're going to lift up the back heel. We're going to descend it down. We're going to lift into it and descend down. So at the moment, while we're doing this action, we're focusing on feeling this little stretch through the calf muscle. So it's an area of the body that we can commonly get tight. I find it quite hard to access the stretch in my calf muscle because of the anatomy of my feet, and my feet tend to compress with my shin bone, so I can't really get fully into that. So this feels really good for me to get into my calf muscle in this way. Okay, now we're going to again lift up the heel, so bring a little more internal rotation to your back leg. Bring your arms down again into the cactus position, and then we're going to bend the front knee, extending through the thigh bone, allowing the back knee to slowly, slowly, slowly descend, taking padding under your back knee if you need it. Lifting up. Now let's see if we can pick up that lift and drive it up through the body, or maybe that's not the right word to say, but you know, feel it. Pick up the flow of that lift up through the front body. And then we're going to bring our hands down. We're going to roll ourselves back over the front heel, sit back towards the back heel, take breath, feel it. That's all you need to do, is to feel it. Feel the breath, feel your body, feel this moment. Whatever might be going on. We feel it, it's okay. Okay, walking forwards, raising your arms up and again into the lunge position. Taking your arms out wide, you can allow the elbows to pull back a little from the shoulders so you really get that lift in the chest. Let's see if we can feel the expansion between the top of the hips at the front and the lower rib cage. Stretching out the belly. Light tone below the navel, perfect. Let's fold it back in. Let's bring ourselves back down like a little return, a little gathering. Finding your breath. Coming back again. That's it. Lifting up. Extending. Breathing. And then we'll fold it back down. I think this is our last fold back. Find your breath. And then walk your hands forward so you can lift up your back knee, bring your hands to the inside of the front leg and then turn around towards the front feet. Checking that they are in line with each other, that they are aligned down the midline of each foot. You're on your fingertips, you can grab a block or whatever you might be using if you need a little extra support here. And we'll pause here on our fingertips and perhaps feel into a little movement here. So you might feel into a little sort of swaying action back and forth. Taking a little lean, a little reach back, a little extension through the body. Feel free to move into it and feel free to play into it. So you might even feel that you want to sort of walk over to one side, lean over to the other side, start to pick up an intuitive or an intuitively led practice as much as you can. I know that you've dialed into a class to be led by me, but I'm sort of your jumping off point in many ways. It might lead you into, but if I go here, then, I reach into a sort of particular sensation that, opens my perception to my center much more, whatever it might be. So, feel free to just play around here. And if you start to feel a dipping in the lower back, you might need to extend yourself down a little more. You might find that it relieves the compressive sensation of the lower back to fold a little further into a forward bend because you're bringing some length to the lower back that way. So feel free to do that if you need to. Okay, then come back up onto your fingertips if you are moving around. Find your breath once again. Find space. Find your center. This has been the constant that I've been, attempting to draw myself to. As you all know, this is a constant in, my practice in classes, but, I've attempted to draw myself back as much as possible over the last week, and I can honestly say it's not always been easy, or it's sometimes felt impossible. But it's never impossible. It's only impossible when we get caught up in the impermanent fluctuations of mind and idea of self. And we get so lost in that we forget our center. So when we come to the mat, this is a perfect opportunity for a reminder to come back. Okay, we're going to walk our feet in a little closer towards each other. That should give us a good amount of purchase to press into our fingertips and bring ourselves up, and then step your feet back in towards each other. Tadasana with the feet together or hip width apart. Yeah, move it out a little as you need to. So Lisa having a little shake out there. So feel free to move and then rest. Rest. So perhaps this is our time for deep rest. It certainly is in this moment a time for deep rest. Breath is flowing. It's all you need. It's everything. Remember that verse from the Chandogya Upanishad. Breath is everything. Okay, let's take our arms out in a wide circle. Feel every stage of that movement. It's such a ubiquitous movement of yoga to raise the arms up above the head, but really feel it. Enjoy it. As you lift up, as we extend up, we're extending up to feel into the space above us. So rather than feeling that we are just simply stretching our body, we are reaching into that space. So that's what I want you to attune to as you lift up through your arms, as you extend up into your hands. What you are doing is reaching out into that space above. So feel the space that surrounds the hands, that surrounds the arms, that surrounds the body, that surrounds all of us. Move into it as you need to. Don't get caught in the neck, head and neck moving if you need to. Swaying. You can roll across your feet. You can bend your knees. You can sway the hips. Okay, bring your hands together and just bring your hands down through the midline of your body. Bringing your hands to your heart, releasing the shoulders. Maybe you need to give them a little shake, a little wiggle. Forehead softening, jaw releasing, breathing. Feeling that space behind the hands where they're making contact with your body. You can feel the immediate contact of your hands against your chest, but feel behind that contact. What's there? Can you breathe into it? Can you orientate yourself to that place and stay there, no matter what we're doing? Okay, we're going to release our hands down. You can take your hands onto your hips whilst you step apart. We're going to come back into a wide stride. We're going to allow our toes to turn out this time. I'm going to bring our arms up. And what we're going to do is we're going to be moving. This is a practice that it's sometimes called Kali Asana. Now, Kali is this goddess within various Indian traditions. I've got a little statue over here. I'm going to bring her up so you can see. But just so you can see, maybe you can see her tongue there. There we go. There's Kali's tongue sticking out. So we're going to do a little posture for Kali. And that posture is, and this is a good releasing posture to do. It's nice to do when you're on your own. Sometimes that it can, people may feel a little self-conscious about doing it in class, but normally actually everyone enjoys it when we do this. And what we're going to do here is we're going to bend our knees, we're going to bring our arms down by our side, and we're going to take a deep exhalation out, and we're going to stick our tongue out. So here's a demo. Yes. So let's do that 3 times. Fantastic. Come back in. Walk your feet in. Take a nice soothing Tadasana after our Kali Asana. So Kali, she's a wonderful goddess in what she represents. So this anthropomorphic form we see is, it's a representation of particular qualities of consciousness. And we use these forms because we relate to human-like forms. And, they can be used with rich symbolism. So, one of the things that, she really does represent is this is time, and within time, what is represented there is the cycle of creation and maintenance and destruction. And probably all of us are feeling maybe there's a little element of destruction of our, just our usual routine of life at the moment. But what that makes way for is it makes space for creation to come. So although we may be wobbled and unsettled, and actually, some practices with these deities actively encourage that to take us out of our usual paradigms of thinking everything is pinned down and permanent. So it creates the freedom to recognize that actually everything is subject to constant change. And in the same way that we approach a balancing posture by not trying to pin it down and hold it dead still, but to adapt to the flow of movement that's there in the posture, and then we maintain our balance. This is what working with an energy such as Kali will do for us, allow us to maintain the balance even in the wobble. So let's try that out with some balance. Let's bend our left knee, shifting our weight into our right foot. We're going to come into Vrikshasana, tree pose. So you're going to raise up your left knee. You're going to take hold of your shin somewhere, and then you can bring your foot. So trying to get this movement out from the hip if you can. And you can bring your foot somewhere along the inner seam of the leg. So if you can come high up the thigh, that's great, but it's not essential. So you can go down lower. Try not to overly put weight against your knee. So You can even come down to the floor and bring your toes to the floor if balance is tricky. And then, maybe you're near a wall space or something that you can touch if balance does become tricky. And then you can bring your hands to your heart and you can breathe. So feel how our balance here is not dependent. If we try to make it still, and I know this from previous experience, if I tried to make it still, and I even did for a second then, and I felt, the wobble that would bring me into losing my balance. So what we just have to do is just breathe and just feel that there is movement, and that's okay. Okay, let's release the hands down. Keep the leg up if you can. Raise your arms out wide. Bring your arms up. You can extend the hands up. You can bring your hands together, but don't get tight in the neck if you do that. You can't quite see me. I keep my hands shoulder width apart mostly, just because I quite enjoy feeling the space between the hands too. Okay, hands together, come back down through the midline and then release your foot and place it next to the other. Perfect. Breathe. You may need to move here. So I can see, there's a bit of movement coming in for some of you, so wiggle it out if you need to. And then when you're ready, we're going to move to the other side so you can bend your knee. And again, we want to, as we lift the leg up, and we're going to take hold of the shin through the inside of the thigh, see if you can feel into the movement really around the hip. You can even sort of be quite deliberate in opening out the hip in that way to then place the foot to the inner thigh. And then again, you may bring your hands to your heart and embrace the wobble if it's there. Feel your breath. Okay, arms down, arms out wide. Raising your arms up above your head. And again, you can lift into this, but don't strive for it. Feel it as an expression of moving into the space that is above you rather than striving for any particular stretch. And you may bring your hands together, move your hands down through the midline, tracing that energetic channel through the center of the body. And then you may release your leg, place your foot into the other, and release your arms. Back in Tadasana, a little light tone in the belly, little length through the front of the body without compromising the back of the body. So we want to see if we can feel this lift coming up through the four sides of the body. And you can move into it, you can sway into it if that feels right. Forehead soft, jaw released. Feel the earth beneath your feet. And see if we can take a couple of breaths into that. Okay, we're going to raise our arms up above our head. And again, you may move into it Find a little wiggle into it, find a little extension. Our feet are in towards each other. We're going to come into Utkatasana. So we're going to hinge from our ankles, our knees and our hips. We're going to bring a little light tone to the belly. We're going to sit down a little, and we might bounce into this, we might sway into it, you know, doing whatever you need to do to feel into the pose. That's it, breathe. Okay, and then you may bring yourselves up, pressing into your feet, coming up, taking your arms out in a wide circle again and releasing your arms, finding your breath. Finding your breath. Okay, we're going to step back into a wide stride. And this time I'm going to turn your left toes in a little, heel and turn out. Right foot and leg out. We're going to keep the body facing forwards. Okay, so you're going to take your left hand behind you and just see if you can take hold of the arm there. Okay, so we get this real opening across the chest here. Okay, now with our right arm, we're going to fold that in front of the body. So there's a little hug in here. That's it, breathing. Inhale. And exhale, and you may bend your front knee and slowly lower yourselves down, feeling this hug in. There's a little light tone in the belly, so resist the temptation to push the lower back forwards with that back arm. So we need to support the back of the body from the front of the body. Perfect, breathe. Okay, let's just take a little lean over towards the right. That's it. Reach into your back foot. So as you reach into your back foot, it's sort of an energetic movement from front of the foot to the back of the foot in this direction, like you are drawing from the toes towards the heel. Perfect. Now push into your front foot, so you start to bring that front leg towards extension. You keep this tone in the belly. It's really important at this stage. It's getting a little stronger, perhaps. Breathing. And then when you're ready, inhaling and coming up, turning the feet to the front. Releasing the arms slowly and enjoying that release, enjoying that space. Enjoying your breath. Now to the other side, so your right toes can turn in, your left foot can turn out. You're going to bring, your right arm behind your back. Take hold of the lower part of the upper arm, and then cross your left arm in front of the body. So there's a little hug in, there's a little gathering in, there's a call to pulling everything into your center. And then we're going to bend the front knee and we're going to extend through the inner thigh of the front leg. We're going to reach back through the back foot from toes towards the heel. And we're going to lower ourselves down here. We're going to breathe. We're going to keep the body upright at the moment. And then we're going to take a little lean over. That's it, breathing. Deep breaths. And then we're going to press firmly into the front foot to bring the leg towards extension. Lift your body out of the pelvis. Keep a little light tone in the belly to support you. And then deepening into the front foot to bring yourselves up. Turning your feet into the center. Stepping back in. Releasing your arms slowly. Taking a deep breath. Enjoying the space here. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves down to the floor now. And we're going to sit with our legs out in front of us. Now, we're not going to take a block underneath us, as we might sometimes do when we sit in this position, because we're going to draw our buttock flesh out and back. And then maybe the easiest way to do this is that you take your leg that's closest to the screen and open that leg out to the side. So we're just going to go through a little movement here. We're going to place our fingertips to the floor. We're going to lift up through the chest. We're going to fold over that leg. So the leg that's furthest from me, you're just going to take a little walk towards it. We're just teasing into the extension through the back of the leg. It's not about coming low. We're not going to stay there for long, because then we're going to walk our hands around towards the other leg. Lift up, and then again a little tease forwards over that leg, breathing into the back of the leg. Perfect. Then walking back in, and then walking your hands above that leg. Let your other leg rotate, and then you can walk yourselves down to your forearms. Perfect. That's it. Breathe. Reaching to the heel of the back foot, so extend into that heel so you can make length through your entire body, from that foot up through the leg, up through the body, forearms deep into the floor. Breathing. Okay, walk your hands back in. Allow yourself to be turned more towards this leg that is closest to me. We're going to do the same again to the other side. So there's going to be a little walk over this leg. Just touching into the stretch. You know, we're not striving for that forward bend. We're just playing with it, feeling into it, breathing into it, maybe swaying into it. And then we're going to walk ourselves around towards the other leg. Same thing again, maybe a little lift up into the chest. First of all, a little fold over, a little breath. And then lifting up, hands coming onto the other side of that leg, allowing this leg that's closest to the screen to rotate, and fold yourself down onto your forearms behind the other leg. Turn myself around so I can still see you. And that's it, just pause there. You can reach into this back foot, extend into that back foot, deepen your forearms into the floor, lift your chest forwards, move into it as you need to. That's it, breathe, maybe a little swaying from side to side might feel rich for you here. Okay, walk the hands in, let that leg rotate, and then you can find yourself sitting with your legs wide. I'll turn around, you might want to turn around, but let your body rest in the center now. Now this is where you might need a bit of support. So if you normally have support, perhaps grab, your folded towel or something, and if you have it folded neatly like this, you can have the corner of the towel forwards like you would with a yoga block, and you can raise yourself up. A little support under the knees is sometimes needed for people if they're raising up their seat and they have hyperextension. You don't need to sit on this. If you know you can sit upright, you can just sit directly on the floor. Extend the feet away. Fingertips either to the floor in front of you or behind you, or you can even rest your hands on your legs. What we're looking for is to be able to bring the body up, to rise up out of the pelvis. We may need a little support for that from our arms. We're ultimately looking for self-support, or even not requiring external support, Mira Lumbar, without support. But you take what you need. And if you need support, our relationship with that is that the support that we take, we just bring that into us. We bring a block into us. It becomes part of us. So although we are using perhaps a prop sometimes, it's not outside of us. We are still self-supported. I'd like you to breathe into the inner groin area, so at the top of the thighs, breathe into the inner thighs. Feel free to move into it, so if you feel a little stiff, a little swaying can help, a little movement from side to side. Allowing your breath to flow, allowing your breath to be that means of support, because the breath is everything. Okay, if you have your hands, if they are providing structural support, you can keep your right hand on the floor, wherever it might be, in front. It's better behind, actually, for what we're going to do. If you have your hands in front and you're using it for support, so bring it behind you. And then we're going to bring the left arm and we're going to trace through the inside of the right leg, and we're going to rise the arm up nice and wide. You may find it useful to press into the right fingertips, and then bringing the hand down behind you, and then the same again. Right arm extends through the inside of the left leg. We take it out wide. We lift into it, press into the fingertips, and just continue a couple more rounds. Find the breath flowing with this movement. Lift and reach into it. Use your supporting hand for a little bit more extension. Coming towards our last round here, and then when you have completed, bring your hands down behind you, in front of you, or on your legs. Let breath flow. And then we're going to bring our legs back in towards each other so you can place your hands behind your knees and take a little knee back so you can draw your legs in, and then you may cross your legs into Sukhasana. Draw the buttock flesh out and back. Okay, hands on the knees. That's it, breathe. Okay, now you can take support if you need support. So you can sit yourself on your yoga block or book or towel, whatever you need. If you're raising up your seat more and you need a little support under the shins, you can pop a little support under the shins. Just bring your hands onto your knees when you're ready and we'll sit. So we'll sit in this space. Your forehead is soft, your jaw is released. Your breath is flowing. And give yourself here. Sukhasana, a posture with both ease and space in its name. As some of you will know, I often reflect that I'd like to call every posture Sukhasana. Because this is what we are looking for, ease and space. It's there. It's just sometimes buried beneath a few other layers. So let's find the ease and space in Sukhasana. And of course, again, you're free to move. You don't feel, because we're sitting cross-legged, that we have to drop into being really still and hold the posture statically. There may be a little movement, there might not be movement, but feel that inherent freedom that you have in your practice. To find movement, to find stillness, to find what you need. See if you can allow a release through the facial muscles, from the crown of the head, from the very center of the crown of the head, almost as though you were, a sort of melting sensation from the crown of your head. You can pour through the facial muscles, through the temples, through the jaw. Softening that boundary between the internal and external, dissolving that boundary between the internal and external. Okay, when you're ready, you may open your eyes, and it's time for us to move into Shavasana now. So, in your own time, coming out of Sukhasana, giving the body some movement if you need to, and laying down. So, of course, making sure you're warm. Making sure you've got head support if you need it. So, I know everyone on the call is very familiar with Sukhasana. So, take what you need to be in a comfortable Sukhasana. You might have your hands on your belly, one hand on the belly or chest, or arms out to the side. You might have a little bit of knee support. I can see Catherine's got a nice bolster behind her knees there. So, do what you need to do to be really comfortable here in Shavasana. And then start again with the breath. So I'm going to reread that verse. I'm going to read another verse as well, which I'm also going to chant to you, but I'm going to remind you of that verse around the breath. So as you listen, let the words come into your body with your breath. Breath is greater than hope. Just as spokes are held together in a wheel hub, everything is held together in the breath. Breath moves by breath. Breath gives it to breath. Breath is father, breath is mother. Breath is brother, breath is sister. Breath is teacher, breath is Brahmana. So rest in the fullness of your breath. Rest in the fullness of being. In the fullness of life, in the fullness of awareness. In the fullness of space. In the fullness of love. And the fullness of connection. As we breathe in Shavasana, as we feel the breath and enjoy the breath. And feel gratitude to the breath for being everything. For pointing us towards our center. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Vashishyate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh, that is full. This is full. Fullness comes forth from fullness. When fullness is taken from fullness, fullness remains. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Taking a slower, deeper, steadier, expansive breath. Expansive because there is no boundary around the breath. Giving yourself as you release that breath. And as you feel the breaths continuing, feeling into that movement between the internal and external through the breath. The transcendence and immanence simultaneously of the breath. And when you're ready, you may bend your knees and place your feet to the floor, and again, maybe taking a more deliberate breath here and allowing your breath to find its own flow. And then you may roll onto your right side and pause there. And then when you're ready, you may roll over onto your other side and pause there. And then in your own time, you may slowly start to bring yourselves out, maybe a little stretch out, a little movement. You can really enjoy this in the comfort of your own home. You know, enjoy being in that space, that familiar space where, everything is okay. And then bring yourselves up, and you may come to sit in any comfortable seat. We'll close the class together. We'll chant Om. We may not be able to hear each other. You'll be able to hear me and yourself, but we can feel us all chanting together. So bringing your hands to your heart, closing your eyes, and let's take a deep inhalation to prepare. Oh.